Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and I'm going to do a swatching for my swatch book of red inks that I have bottles of. I did pull a couple that were kind of a reddish orange, but I still think they lean enough red that I can count them in this group, and they will likely also be in my orange ink group. And then I am choosing to separate out bottles from samples, and that way, if I want to update my swatch book next year, it's fairly likely my bottles will still be in my collection, but I might have some samples that are no longer in my collection or that have been added. So I have this Tomoe River loose leaf that I purchased from Amazon. It's 52 GSM. Just gonna pull that out a little bit so it can focus better. And I drew some lines. I used a one of these little doodads that came with a Galen Leather Co. notebook that just gives you some guidance, and boxed it out so that I can do my swatching. As I go through these swatches, I'm going to speed it up and do a little voiceover. So feel free to grab some tea or grab your journal or whatnot and enjoy. Okay, I'll see you at the end. Oh, sorry, one more thing. I'm going to start with my non-shimmer inks and then move to shimmer, so it's not going in order of color palette. That's the order that I'm choosing to go in. Okay. The first ink is Diamine Sleigh Ride, which is from the 2024 Diamine Ink Vent calendar. This is a really, really lovely dark red ink, and there are moments of lightness and a lot of darkness, but then it has this sheen that, quite frankly, on the right paper takes over, and you don't really even see the ink color, you just see the sheen. Next up, we have Sailor 50 States, Massachusetts. This ink is quite a bit lighter than the rest, as you will see, as you can see, and it is a little bit of a corally red. Even though it's very much later, I wanted it incorporated on this page, and it will likely also be in the pink section and perhaps even the orange section. My next bottle is Diamine Noel. This, I think, is from the 2019 Ink Vent calendar. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a really lovely deep red, and at times you can see a green sheen. This tends to be a go-to for me in December. I'm going to follow that up from an ink from the 2021 Ink Event calendar. This is Diamine Raspberry Rose. This is a very pink red, but it is dark enough that I would count it in this category, and similar to Sailor Massachusetts, you will likely see this in the pink pages of my swatch book. After that is an Atlas Stationers exclusive collaboration with Robert Oster. This one is called Vampire Pigeon, and I love the name of it. It's really fascinating. It is a really nice bright deep red, and then it has this gorgeous blue shimmer that is very prevalent. I have inked this up. There are times where Robert Oster collaboration inks are super lubricated, almost to the point of feathering or to the point of feathering. This one actually behaves really well. Then I have an ink from this year's, the 2024 Ink Event calendar, and this is Diamine Winterberry. This is a really bright red, super bright red, and it has a red shimmer on top of it. And so it's bright on bright, it's gorgeous, it's happy, And I do think, or I do see a little bit of a pink lean to it, but that could just be where it's positioned with Vampire Pigeon right next to it and Noel above it. But it is a gorgeous red. And I really like doing the lines with my Kakimori nib right under my swatches. Coming up next is Diamine Vintage Copper. This is from the 2021 Ink Event Calendar. I have received or completed 2 Ink Event calendars, 2021 and 2024. So the majority of my Diamine inks come from that. Vintage Copper is a kind of burnt orange red, and it has this beautiful gold shimmer on top of it that is so visually pleasing. And I have only inked this up once, and I did really like the experience of it. I used it in a Ferris Wheel Press brush pen. Following that is a Wearing Goal ink. This is one that was gifted to me by my husband. This one is called Anna Karenina, and it is this really lovely medium red that leans a little bit magenta with a red shimmer on top of it. And interestingly, the red shimmer looks different than the red shimmer in Diamond Winterberry, and I think a lot of that has to do with the base color being different. But now, as I look a little bit closer, Winterberry has a bit more of a golden red shimmer. And speaking of gold shimmer, next up is Auto Hut Gold Dust. Now, this one was interesting. I opened it up and was really surprised by 2 things. One, the level of ink in the bottle, and I talk about this a little bit later, but also little particles that came off. So you'll see me blow the particles away. The other thing that was really surprising is as this dries down, it really feathers, and that's not been my experience with this ink in the past. I have had this for about a year, almost a year and a half. So this will just be an ink that I keep an eye on and see what it's like in a pen. The last ink that I will be swatching for my red ink bottles is Diamine All the Best. Now, this one I've always considered to be a really classic red, similar to Noel. However, when I swatch it down on this page, it actually looks magenta and a lot more pink. And I was surprised by that. This ink has the tiniest little itty bitty sheen to it, and also has a lovely purplish blue shimmer. I thought I was going to swatch that, but I in fact did not. Okay, so here are all of the red inks that I have. This is coming across much more orange, and I considered adding Diamine Grotto to this spread because of that, but I'm going to opt not to. That just might be my whoopsie. The other thing I'm noticing is the Auto Hut is feathering quite a bit. And I don't know if you noticed some of the sprinkles when I opened it, but there's a lot of, which is not uncommon with red inks, but a lot of kind of this stuff around the edge. And just looking at the ink level in the bottle, I'm wondering if there is some evaporation going on, and that might be compromising the integrity of the ink. But I'm also seeing a little bit of feathering with the Diamine Raspberry Rose, or Raspberry Rosé, whichever the pronunciation is, and a little bit with Wearing Goal and a Karenina. So those are the inks. Here's the back with bleed through. So there's quite a bit of bleed through, especially with Auto Hut. And yeah, this will be the first page in my ink swatch book. So thank you for joining, and I will see you in the next ink swatch video next week, which will be the red samples. So hopefully you'll be back for that. Subscribe if you haven't yet so that you get notified when that video uploads, as well as other videos such as the 3 Inks Thursday and pen and ink reviews, etc. All right. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Hope you have a wonderful day and a productive week. Bye.